Hello and welcome to my YouTube video. Today my thesis that I will present to you talks about playwrights that shaped the human identity. The only difference between the saint and the sinner is that every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. End quote by Oscar Wilde. I choose this I chose this quote to illuminate the progressive nature of my research. My research is to find out how the plays of presumed and non-presumed LGBT dramatists affected society's view of the human identity. How does the theme of the human identity expose LGBT themes throughout the late 1600s to the end of the 19th century? My thesis is that I suggest that there are themes within some of the plays of the three playwrights that I will mention um, that cause the traditional human identity to become less traditional, as in having more agency to love who they want to love. And this thesis also has lots of speculation, but bear with me. A lot of the times when playwrights had to present poems or plays, they had to write according to the audience of the day so that they wouldn't totally be ignored. Or it was either censored and we don't know about it, so I wouldn't know. Let's start with Afrobain. In plays like The Dutch Lover and poems like The Disappointment, Bain wrote freely about the topic of sex, which wasn't very expected or very couth of anybody, any playwright or any poet at the time. This is during the 1680s. Apart from The Rover, which I don't personally think shows Bain's advocacy for female dramatic freedom, The Dutch Lover is about a woman that tricks her dim-witted Dutch suitor and marries the man that she loves, that she intended to marry. This play does not clearly advocate for LGBT themes, but I believe Bain offered a realm in theater where traditional marriages have a chance to be something that you have agency over. Uh, and at the time, I thought that was pretty nuanced, was very helpful to arranging what the human identity can become. Afterwards, we have a playwright named Heinrich von Kleist, or Kleist, and this is in the late 18th century. He was a dramatist that came after sometime during the Romantic movement in the art world. It is speculated that in some plays like Die Familie Schroffenstein, which is not only a nod towards William Shakespeare, but of the forbidden homosexual relationships that von Kleist had engaged in before. Von Kleist had a brilliant way of expressing the sorrowful yet real pain that is brought upon by societal ramifications of transgressional sexuality, which is within the play Die Familie Schroffenstein. It's very Romeo and Juliet-esque. For background for the motion of this play, I'll give an excerpt from one of von Kleist's letters to a lover named Roel von Lillenstern. And he says to him, "With your elegance, dear boy, you wield a strange power over my heart, and although it is I myself who gave you full insight into my mind, yet at times you show me an image of myself, so close to my very soul that I start as before the newest phenomenon in all the world." End quote. I believe that Kleist plays are symbolic of his own deep machinations against his homosexuality. And next, uh, Oscar Wilde, during the turn of the century in the industrial age, close to the 1890s, Oscar wrote uh, poems such as The Picture of Dorian Gray and The Importance of Being Earnest. And in the play of The Importance of Being Earnest, it is a farcical comedy about two protagonists that are escaping burdensome and social obligations of Victorian London. Major themes include the triviality of marriage and the heavy satire of Victorian ways, like how if you have a table that doesn't have a drape covering, that's no good because uh, table legs were considered as uh, sexualized things, so they were often covered. Um, a certain amount of Wilde's plays have overt themes of male-to-male love written in the works, such as The Happy Prince and the fairy tale The Devoted Friend, which was uh, written by Wilde, where he exemplifies the presence of his homosexual bonds in his writing. Um, why do I bring this up today? Is that today traditional human identity is still a topic of debate. Many modern day voices contest against what is right and what is wrong, and what it means to be human. In modern plays and playwrights, the human identity has been thoroughly explored, extrapolated, and experimented. Um, Themes before the 1900s were more like whispers rather than concrete ideals. And I would speculate that the human identity, being non-traditional in nature, has been covered multiple times by playwrights in the 20th century. But overall, these playwrights helped to create a non-traditional view of human identity slowly, not all at once, because this is a gradual change. Bain had her emphasis on escaping the predetermined fate in marriage. Von Kleist with his uh, themes of burden inside society with the ramifications of transgressional sexuality, and finally with Wilde's farcical comedies that poke fun at Victorian obligations coupled with his prose that expressed male-to-male devotion. These playwrights, from a more classical time, allowed the human identity to slowly become less categorical and more complex. From the traditional view from the traditional view to the non-traditional. And thank you for enjoying my video, and I'll see you guys next time.